The Midnight Sniper. On October 15, 2002, 41-year-old John Allen Muhammad and his 17-year-old accomplice Lee Boyd Malvo terrorized the Washington, D.C. area for 3 weeks. They had already killed 10 people and wounded 3 others in random shootings from their modified Chevrolet Caprice. Police had set up roadblocks across multiple states. The FBI had launched one of the largest manhunts in American history. Muhammad believed he was conducting a holy war against the United States government. He had trained Malvo to be his weapon, filling the teenager's mind with hatred and delusions of grandeur. Together, they had turned ordinary locations into killing fields. Gas stations, parking lots, schools, all became places where innocent people fell to their sniper rifle. On the morning of October 24th, a truck driver at a Maryland rest stop noticed something suspicious about a blue sedan parked nearby. The car had been there for hours with 2 men sleeping inside. Something felt wrong. He called police, and within minutes the area was surrounded. Officers found Muhammad and Malvo asleep in their car with a Bushmaster rifle, a laptop computer containing detailed plans for future attacks, and evidence linking them to every shooting. When they were finally awakened by police commands, Muhammad tried to reach for something near his seat. Officers shouted for him to show his hands. He complied, but his eyes showed no remorse, only anger that his mission had been interrupted. The trial revealed the full scope of their twisted plan. Muhammad intended to kill 6 people a day for 30 days across multiple cities. He wanted to extort $10 million from the government and establish a training camp for other killers. On November 10, 2009, Muhammad was executed by lethal injection at Greensville Correctional Center in Virginia. His final words were a rambling statement about the government and his belief that he was a soldier. The Acid Bath Murderer. On February 18, 1949, 39-year-old John George Hay walked into a West Sussex police station with a confident smile. He had been questioned about the disappearance of wealthy widow Olive Duran Deacon, but Hay believed he had committed the perfect crime. He had dissolved her body in sulfuric acid, just like he had done with 8 other victims over the past 6 years. Hay was a charming con artist who targeted wealthy individuals. He would befriend them, gain their trust, then lure them to his workshop where he would shoot them and dissolve their bodies in large drums of acid. He sold their possessions and forged their signatures to access their bank accounts. His method seemed foolproof. Acid would dissolve flesh, bone, even teeth, leaving virtually no evidence. Hay had studied chemistry and believed he understood exactly how long the process would take. What he didn't account for was that some materials resist acid completely. When police searched his workshop, they found human gallstones, dentures, and a lipstick case that belonged to Duran Deacon. These small items had survived the acid bath and provided definitive proof of murder. During his trial, Hay shocked the courtroom by confessing to all 9 murders. He claimed he drank the blood of his victims before dissolving them, hoping to convince the jury he was insane. The strategy failed completely. Medical experts testified that his careful planning and methodical approach proved he was fully aware of his actions. The jury needed only 15 minutes to find him guilty of murder. On August 10, 1949, Hay was hanged at Wandsworth Prison in London. His body was buried in an unmarked grave within the prison walls. The Vampire Killer. On May 23, 1980, 28-year-old Richard Chase sat in his Sacramento apartment surrounded by evidence of his horrific crimes. Over the past month, he had killed 6 people, including a pregnant woman and a 22-month-old baby. Chase believed he was a vampire who needed blood to survive. His paranoid schizophrenia had convinced him that his own blood was turning to powder and that he needed to consume human blood to live. His killing spree had begun in December 1977, when he shot and killed an innocent man in a drive-by shooting. But his most brutal crimes came in January 1978. He broke into homes, killed entire families, and performed grotesque acts on their bodies. He drank their blood and ate portions of their organs. The crime scenes were so disturbing that seasoned detectives became physically ill. Chase's mental illness had been obvious for years. He had been hospitalized multiple times for drinking animal blood and injecting rabbit blood into his veins. But he had been released each time, deemed stable enough to live independently. His neighbors had complained about him killing animals and leaving their remains around his apartment complex. The warning signs were everywhere, but no one connected them until it was too late. Police caught Chase after a witness identified his orange station wagon leaving one of the crime scenes. When they searched his apartment, they found body parts in his refrigerator and blender. Bloodstains covered the walls and furniture. Chase had been living in a nightmare of his own creation, driven by delusions that made him believe murder was necessary for survival. On December 26, 1980, Chase was found dead in his prison cell. He had saved up his prescribed antidepressants for weeks and swallowed them all at once. Guards found his body in the morning, finally still after months of erratic behavior and violent outbursts. The Bundy Execution. On January 24, 1989, 42-year-old Theodore Robert Bundy sat in the electric chair at Florida State Prison. For over a decade, he had terrorized young women across multiple states, killing at least 30 victims with his calculated charm and brutal violence. Bundy was handsome, articulate, and intelligent. He used these traits to lure unsuspecting women to isolated locations where he would assault and murder them. He often posed as an injured man needing help or impersonated authority figures to gain trust. His killing spree had spanned from Washington to Florida between 1974 and 1978. College students, hitchhikers, and women walking alone at night all became his targets. He would often return to the crime scenes to perform necrophilic acts on decomposing bodies. Some victims were found with their heads severed and kept as trophies in his apartment. The brutality of his crimes shocked even experienced investigators. Bundy had escaped from custody twice during his trials, once by jumping from a courthouse window and another time by crawling through a hole in his jail cell ceiling. His final capture came after he murdered 2 sorority sisters at Florida State University and attacked 3 others in a single night. Witnesses had seen him leaving the scene, and bite mark evidence linked him definitively to the murders. During his years on death row, Bundy became a celebrity of sorts. He gave interviews, wrote letters to admirers, and even helped FBI profilers understand serial killer behavior. He confessed to additional murders in his final days, hoping to delay his execution. Outside the prison, crowds gathered with signs celebrating his impending death. When the switch was thrown at 7:16 a.m., 2,000 volts of electricity coursed through his body. The Manson End. On November 19, 2017, 83-year-old Charles Manson died in his hospital bed at Kern County Hospital in California. He had been serving 9 life sentences for orchestrating a series of brutal murders in 1969 that shocked the world. Manson never personally killed anyone, but his twisted charisma had convinced his followers to commit murder in his name. He preached about an apocalyptic race war he called Helter Skelter, and believed the Beatles were sending him coded messages through their music. His most infamous crime was the murder of actress Sharon Tate and 4 others at a Beverly Hills mansion on August 9, 1969. Tate was 8 months pregnant when Manson's followers stabbed her 16 times. The killers wrote messages in blood on the walls and left the scene looking like a slaughterhouse. The next night, they murdered Leno and Rosemary LaBianca in their home. Manson had gathered his followers at a ranch outside Los Angeles, creating a commune of lost souls who worshipped him as a prophet. He used drugs, sex, and psychological manipulation to control his family members. Young women who had come seeking peace and love became willing participants in horrific violence. His trial became a media circus as Manson carved an X into his forehead and made bizarre statements to the press. He showed no remorse for the murders and continued to claim he was innocent, despite overwhelming evidence of his role in planning the killings. His followers remained loyal even after their convictions, with some still defending him decades later. Manson spent nearly 50 years in prison, becoming one of America's most notorious inmates. He was denied parole 12 times and died from natural causes related to colon cancer. His death marked the end of one of the most disturbing chapters in American criminal history. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Every like gives me more power to create the next video for you.